Good evening, everybody. My name is Brandon Baxter, and I will be serving as your master of ceremonies this evening. Special guests, when I call your name, would you please stand and be recognized? We ask that everyone hold their applause until everyone will call. Marlena Randolph, Principal of Dunbar High School. Marlena Randolph, Principal of Dunbar High School. Reverend Dr. Ella Mitchell, Associate Minister at Corinthian Baptist Church in Dayton, Iowa. The National Paul Laurence Dunbar Scholar for Laurence Scheme. I've taken a play, turned a public school teacher.
Speak louder.
Margaret Peters, historian for the Dayton Afro-American Studies. And Mr. James Ditto, the president of the Dunbar Alumni Association. If there are any other guests omitted, would you please stand at this time? You all may be seated. At this time, we will have Mr. Anthony Jackson to sing the Negro National Anthem.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to ask everyone to stand while the Negro National Anthem is being sung. And if you have a hat on, you should not please remove your hats. Thank you. Every voice I sing to earth and heaven, bring me a harmony of lyrics. Let our rejoicing rise in the listening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of faith that the dark past has brought us. Sing a song full of hope that the present has taught. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
At this time, we please have the Reverend Dr. Ella Mitchell to come up and bring the state first.
Thank you very much, ma'am. To Principal Marlena Randolph, to Martin Tucker, your assistant principal, to the coordinators and counselors of Dunbar High School, my alma mater, to the student body, good afternoon. Good afternoon. My assignment this afternoon, or my purpose, is to give just a little information about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. When they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said unto one another, behold, this dream or dreamer cometh. And so this afternoon, thank you, young people. Thank you very much. This afternoon, there can be no Martin Luther King Jr. Day of recognition without the themes of love, justice, and liberation. Hopefully, you have read or are reading about the bus boycott, the sit-ins, the March on Washington, voting rights, sanitary workers, anti-war rallies, marches against discrimination in housing, employment, and education. I came this afternoon for you, young people, that you know some important facts about this important man. That he was among the first civil rights leader to speak out about inhumanity of the Vietnam War, and was recognized for his concern for all mankind. And that in 1964, at the age of 35, he became history's youngest recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. I came this afternoon so that we can remember the man whose character was evident in the courageous confrontations he was willing to make. And yet, it took 15 years to create the federal Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Congressman John Conyers from Michigan first introduced legislation for a commemorative holiday 4 days after King was assassinated in 1968. And after the bill became stalled, petitions endorsing the holiday containing 6 million names. The names were submitted to Congress. Shirley Chisholm of New York resubmitted the King legislation. So our purpose here this afternoon is to remember, it's to recall, and it's to reflect. We gather this afternoon to celebrate a man, a message, a mission, a method, and a monumental task of still hewing out stones of hope from the mountains of despair. Young people, we must remember his social upbringings, his educational exercises, his religious discipline, and his spiritual awakenings. We came this afternoon to celebrate this man of peace, who often spoke of love and brotherhood. And what did they do? They threatened him, they stabbed him, they stoned him, they jailed him, and even bombed abort the dream. But thank God his dream had already been planted in the minds and souls of Black people everywhere. So we must remember this afternoon that Dr. King came, he lived, he suffered, he bled, he taught, he gave, and he died. But what happened? He left a legacy for future generations yet unborn. At approximately 6 p.m. April the 4th, 1968, Dr. King was slain by an assassin's bullet in Memphis, Tennessee. And I want you to know that carved on the stone which marks Dr. King's grave are the words, "I'm free at last." We've not overcome. The battle is still raging. But I believe that we shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. Thank you.
We will now be presenting with a musical selection by Chris Henderson.
Silver and gold,
We will now be having a poem by Associate Minister.
And I would have been shocked if I had lived in the days of slavery and seen people suffer. And I am outraged because we haven't moved on as much as we should have done, because we haven't acknowledged the work that Africans have done. What Black History Month means to me is that it shows us what we rather should be, a presence conditioned by a history that's black and white, but mostly black, and more and beyond, and colorful and beautiful, a history that will no longer be painful as long as we can be at last, free at last. No more pain, but celebration. One day, that point towards the future that we are working for. The time when we can talk and dream and speak and show, and attempt to celebrate sometimes. And mostly February. For us on this land, in the island of rain, rather than one of those warm, welcoming, and wonderful islands in the sun. What is beautiful about February is that it is the start of the academic year. So when we start learning, we start with Black history. That's our starting point. Africa. That's why Black History Month is in February, so that we remember that Africa is the beginning of all we have. It's reconnecting us over and over and over again to the meaning of life and the reasons of what we have. If we could only see, if we could only recognize. To see this, to recognize this. This is the task of Black History Month, to show, to learn, and to know what Africa means to the world, where it has taken us, what Africans mean to the world, how beautiful Black is, and how beautiful and important the contributions are by those on the first continent and by those in the Caribbean, and everyone in the diaspora, and how African they are, and how they believe in humanity and the unity of all the earth, and despite that bad experience, work for justice and reconciliation. Those efforts of love, liberation, and unity. So this is the task of Black History Month, to show, to learn, and to know, to see and to recognize what Africa means to the world, what Africans everywhere mean to the world. How Africa is our beginning and starting point, and a point of continent of reference, and reason for all we have, and how we can all be one if we acknowledge Africa. I'd like to say thank you, Laurence Dunbar, for those fitting words.
We will now have a poem read by Mrs. H.6. Jackson.
The new Holocaust, the days of despair, the nights of fear, hearing the cries of our kin, the breaking of our skin, derived from hatred of our skin, when abuse of the word was used to hurt millions of men, women, and children from the Mecca of creation. The world's largest water reservoir is also the world's largest graveyard. Memories of the Black Holocaust, the cost of physical lives of many ancestral Africans. But now we trudge the new Holocaust, in memory of the cultural loss by mentally distraught Blacks, lacking self-respect and pride and DNA so unique that other races go through great lengths for full lips, thick hips, waists, and behinds with shapes. Darker skin, better skin, when we can't even love the skin we're in. Full of self-hate, we seek to eradicate the variance of our identity. My hair is too. My nose is two, my lips are two, my skin is two. Too many ways to erase our shade, often substituted with great deep weight. Tarnishing melanin-rich skin with toxic bleaching tactics, lavish surgeries to mimic the white majority. Self-degradation and colorisms based on the prism of shade to portray statuses based on a historical classification. Colorisms that spread across nations. This state of mind creates the new Holocaust. Where is the admiration to obliterate the false pretenses of beauty? Behold, the envy of natural hair over overprocessed flavor. Still, we prefer light over black, straight over nap. It's time to realize our culture, our ancestry will die at the expense expense of assimilating ignorance. The Black community will experience its biggest loss as a result of the new Holocaust.
To introduce our guest speaker, we will have Sharice Miller come up.
Good afternoon. Education. Richardson High School, Lake City, Florida. Hampton University, Hampton, Virginia. University of Illinois, Champaign, Urbana, Illinois. University of Phoenix, Phoenix, Arizona. Experience, teacher, college and high school. Fayetteville State University. Chicago Public Schools, Champaign Public Schools, Historic State Manager of Laurence Dunbar State Memorial. Originally from Lake City, Florida, Laurence wanted to enjoy works of Laurence Dunbar. As her mother recited his poems for family entertainment on Sunday afternoons, while sitting on the porch in school early as 3rd grade, she continued to grow in her appreciation and understanding of America's gifted writer and native son of Dayton, Ohio, Miss Laurence Ski.
How do you do? It is wonderful to be here today because, see, I am not Laurence Ski. I am Howard Gwen Brown. And I'm a little disheveled because I just traveled through the clouds. St. Peter has me to travel in a golden chariot. Now, my life in this area was expensive. I was born in Pittsburgh. My father took us to Canada during the Civil War because he didn't know what was going to happen to us. He didn't know how the war was going to come out. So we went to country schools in Canada, and my older sisters and brothers went to Olive Ridge College. But after my baby sister died in a fire, a horrible, horrible house fire, I couldn't adjust anymore. So my father heard of this place in Ohio called Wilberforce College. And he moved to Wilberforce, and we built a lovely cottage right across the street. And I went to school and finished college and walked in good posture. I actually held my head high as I walked in good posture, picked up my BS degree in the year of 1873. I'm going to pat myself on the back. Now, thank you, because you see, history does not applaud me. That's why I come back. And you know something? I'm going to tell you the truth. I was born in 1848. But the good Lord let me walk this earth till my 100th year. But I didn't make 100. I was born, I actually left here. My heart just said, bing, bing, stop. On September 16th, had I lived 3 more months, I would have been 100 years old. But let me tell you a little something about my life. You see, I like looking at the future because you are the future. And I was an educator. Now, I have to applaud myself on the back again. I was a dynamic elocutionist and educator. Do you think I'm bragging? I need to brag. Sure, history hasn't bragged on me. Canada. But after I came back to Wilberforce and I graduated, I decided I would look toward the future. And in looking toward the future, all I could see was you, the young people of our group. You must understand the price that has been paid for your freedoms today. Now, well, history doesn't brag on me, but I'll tell you something else. And I might just pat myself on the back again. Not only was I a dynamic elocutionist, I was also an educator. And I first went to Shaw College, and I was president of the girls. I taught them to sip tea in a ladylike way. I taught them English, I taught them poetry, I taught them music appreciation. I worked hard, and I worked so hard, so guess what? Booker T said for me. With the children of Tuskegee. And I did an excellent job. But history does not applaud me. That's all right. Because the result of my efforts will depend on you. My efforts were for the future and not the present. You see, it's like this. When I came back to Wilberforce, my father died. And I stood at the grave, and I looked at my father, and I said, Dad, you're gone, but I've not been able to do anything yet to make myself outstanding in my intended work of advancing our people. Now, I was jealous. I'm going to tell you the truth. I was jealous of my brother. Do you know what my brother did? Who was the same, just a year from my age? My brother was named Jeremiah, but my brother finished Wilberforce too. And he and a bishop from Wilberforce went on into law, and my brother became one of the first African Americans to serve in the Ohio House of Representatives. And once they were there, you know what they did? They took the black laws off the book of Ohio. Did you know Ohio had black laws? Hey, let me tell you something. Ohio had laws so that any African American seen walking in a public area could be asked by any white person for his certification, his manumission papers, and if they didn't have them, they could be taken into that person's custody. That person could do anything they wanted to with them. Usually took them back on the other side of the river below Cincinnati, and collected money, thinking that they were runaway slaves. But my brother stood on the Ohio floor of representatives and put a bill in place that passed unanimously, giving a black person true citizenship in the state of Ohio and the right to without being stopped, questioned, and harassed. Now, my brother took the black laws off the books of Ohio. And let me tell you something about those black laws. Those black laws became a prototype for other southern states. Mississippi got their black laws from Ohio. Let me tell you that Alabama used the black laws of Ohio as a prototype. And one thing about the black laws, they were so recent because every year they were tightening. And what it came down to was African American children did not have an opportunity to go to school. That's why I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to touch the lives of children. So, I was jealous. I hadn't done anything really that outstanding. I was just good on me. But I can tell you, when the city of Dayton decided they would start schools, there was a time that there were no schools in my lifetime for black children in the city of Dayton. But when schools were started for black children in the city of Dayton, I was one of the first teachers in Dayton, Ohio. One of the first African American teachers. Now, let me tell you further. Coming into my classroom, I'm talking, by the way. I'm talking. Coming into my classroom, there was this little boy who would come barefooted, and sometimes he would bring a lunch of syrup and cornbread. And you know what his name was? Paul Laurence Dunbar. Oh, I was so impressed with that child. That child had such ability, such creativity, such creative ability that I see in you and you and you. Schools were getting started for black children. I got hired, and it was a pleasure every day to come to school and to get to know the genius of Paul Laurence Dunbar. I stayed with him throughout his life. I stayed in touch with him. When he was stranded in Europe, I actually offered to help him get back to the United States. You do know his sponsor got him to England and told him to swim back. Took all the money from his greetings and told him to swim back. And he was stranded. That poor child had so many problems. So when Paul died, I went to his mother and I made it an additional concern to perpetuate the life of Paul Laurence Dunbar. In so doing, I wanted it to be that his works would live forever, and I was afraid they would die. I did not want them to die. So as I went to England 3 times, as I performed for the Queen of England, I actually made sure I included Dunbar's works. Dunbar wrote about dignity, personal dignity. That's why he wrote, "We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This death we pay the human God, but oh, great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise." But let the world breathe otherwise. We wear the mask. Do you wear a mask? Do you wear a mask? been surpassed. His canon is more extensive than almost any other African-American writer in history. He wrote constantly. That's why Dunbar high schools were named for him. He was so productive as an individual. And just as when he was a child, and it was felt that the black brain could not disseminate intellectual information. Do you know what that's saying? That's saying you're stupid, therefore you can't learn. So when you act the fool, you are proving that premise. Because they were told that they were monkeys and monkeys could not fly. All right, every time you don't do your homework, every time you don't show courtesy and respect for each other, guess what you're doing? You're walking into that philosophy that is so negative that it is not worthwhile. But I want you to realize too that Dunbar wrote songs, and his songs had rhythm. You know this one? Listen real closely, because Dunbar could tap dance too. You hear that? Well, now, I am a lady, and I don't want you to see my ankles, but I like to tap dance, and the rhythm that I did was "See My Lady Home" last night. You ever heard of that? Negro love song? Well, we're gonna do it, and every time I do like this, I want you to say, my life. I never got married. I never had a private life. I worked in politics. I worked with other artists, other dreamers, but most of all, I achieved my goal. I saved the life and legacy of Laurence Dunbar. I took him to England with me and recited his works. And the Dunbar high schools have started disappearing, but they're still flourishing. And that's why I'm glad to be here today. Long live Dunbar!
At this time, I would like to introduce Brandon Baxter with the musical selection. We will now be presenting a certificate to our poetry contest winner at Waldman Elementary, who is a Christian Tree. Christian Tree was not able to make it, so to retrieve his certificate will be Ms. Phillips.
We would like to say thank you for acknowledging our student, and thank you to Ms. Randolph and also Mr. Haddock for allowing her or having her name in the program. So we appreciate that opportunity to celebrate as a trio family in love and support from one school to another. And again, I would like to say this program is for us, and so if we leave with nothing else, we need to know that we need to love one another and be respectful to one another. Black History Month shouldn't just be in February, but it's an opportunity for us to take pride in how we treat our teachers, our faculty members, each other, as students in our student community. So it's not just for today, it's something that should live within you for all times, especially in Dayton right now, the way things are going. We need to band together and be strong. education and being academic leaders within our school and also in our community. So again, thank you for this opportunity on behalf of Christian Trent and Marvis Meeks, my principal at Baltimore 4A School. Thank you.
We will now be having closing remarks by our lovely principal, Ms. Marlena Brandon.
So, I'm coming out to speak to the students, and this is, did y'all really? Okay. But I'm just going to piggyback on what Ms. Phillips said and some of the speakers. And it's important that you understand some of the things that they said. I don't know if you heard when she said that there was a time right here in Dayton, Ohio, well, as a black, African-American, nigger, whatever they want to call you, you were not able to be educated. Did you guys hear me? The vast majority of you would not even be able to be in this building, have those textbooks, and have the opportunity to learn. Thank you, Ms. Lake, to learn. Yeah. And it's not like we're talking about it was 2,000 miles from here. We're talking about right here, right now. And it's interesting to me because if I parallel and piggyback on what Ms. Phillips said is, 5 years ago before I came here, I sat down with the principal, and this may or may not apply to you, but if you were at Walgman and you're a senior now, or you were at whatever time, or you were at whatever age group you were in, one of the first things that they told me is, we don't have assemblies here. And I said, why not? Well, because the kids don't know how to act. We don't have class meetings because when you get them all together, that was 100 more students at that time, they don't know how to act. They have embarrassed us in the past. And so I said, well, I'm not going to be a part of a school where we can't have distinguished people come in and speak and be a member of that, where we can't sit up, we can't pay attention, and we can't be respectful. So one of the first things I did when I came to Laurence, Dunbar, was we're going to meet with the 9th graders, we're going to meet with the 10th graders, we're going to meet with the 11th graders, and we're going to do this. Because it's very important that you be able to listen to some of your history. Because if you look at the history books that you have now, they talk a lot about laws, they talk about when you got to do this, and we're able to do some other things. But one thing it doesn't do in those history books is talk to you about having pride about yourself. You heard Ms. Jackson talk about a new Holocaust. And I don't know if y'all really heard her. She talked about, and that's the poem that she created. She talked about not liking yourself because I'm not light enough, because my hair's not straight enough, it's not curly. She didn't talk about not liking yourself because you weren't smart enough. She talked about you not liking yourself and having self-esteem and pride in yourself because of what you look like on the outside, not the inside. And so often y'all get into all this little he said, she said stuff about your clothing, about somebody being more attractive than you, or what you think is attractive. And you have educators that sit here and try to tell you on and on, over and over again, it's not about what you look like right now. It's about what you do with the time that you have here. It's about inner beauty, the intelligence that you have, and being able to do something else with it. Because if you've ever come to talk to me or Ms. Phillips or Ms. Foster, we tell you all the time, these same people that you're arguing and bickering with, and you're worried about them talking to you because you don't have on the right pair of shoes. In 5 years, you won't even remember their name. you won't even care. And at some point in time, as young, whether you're African American, whether you're black, whatever you want to call yourself, whether you're white, you got to step up and have some pride about what you are doing and trying to accomplish. Because when I was sitting on our stage, I was looking at the audience and I was looking at your nonverbal communication, whether or not you're paying attention. And I thought, some of them are missing a message. You're really missing it that today you had teachers that didn't want you to have an assembly. Absolutely. And I said, I'm not going to be a principal here, but we're not going to have an assembly about their Black History Month. Where 99% of you are black. Not going to not do it. And so, when you heard Ms. Dean talking about not having some opportunities, I would just like to impress upon you that the opportunity that you are given to get a free education, you need to take full advantage of that. You really do. Because not too long ago, you didn't have an opportunity. You don't have some opportunities now, or you will not have opportunities if you don't at least get a high school diploma. We had that conversation the other day that says, after you reach a certain point, you can't even go into the military now. You can't even go and die for your country. I didn't say fight for, I said die. You can't even go over there and say, I will die for my country without a high school diploma. If you are a felon, you get convicted of a felony, you can't even vote. So you don't have a voice in who is president and who's making those same laws that she talked about that were able to change you getting an education. So that's just something to think about, because you guys know that I can sit here and talk about the importance of education all day long. And until you decide to get one, I really can't help you. Teachers can't help you until you make the decision that I want to be an educated African American or a black male or a white male. Okay, so I'm not going to preach. I think I'm supposed to be introducing one of our former teachers here, and she told me when she came in, she said, this is my anniversary, Miss Randolph. I said, did you get married? And she said, no, the anniversary is when I stopped teaching. I said, oh, that's good. Then Miss Clay came back to sing your alma mater for you, her alma mater. So let's give it up.
Dunbar, we were sitting on the hill. That was in 1985. In 2003, I had an opportunity to come back here and to teach at the school that I graduated from. And then I ended up retiring from 20-some-odd years of teaching exactly a year ago today. I say that to say this. I am proud to be a Wolverine. And when you graduate, you want to be able to say, Zulu years down the road, that I was a Wolverine and I went to Laurence, Dunbar, because I'm proud to be able to say that I'm doing my job that Laurence Dunbar did for me. So on that note, I'd like for you to stand and sing with me, the alma mater. to be a Wolverine. Be proud to know that not so many years ago, we did not have this opportunity. And I'm ashamed of you one last time. If you graduate and don't know your alma mater song, you are not a Wolverine. I'm gonna give you 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. I know you hear me counting. 2, 1. To the Dunbar we pledge ours, with spirits loyal and true. We'll do our best despite the test to make a name for you. When time shall come and we shall meet to part forevermore, long may we sing of Dunbar High, the school we all adore. Here we go! Hail, hail, dear alma mater. We breathe thee, we praise thee, above and all we stand. True to our colors we unfurl, blue and white as the sky. Loud and bold, now we sing.